Oddworld Inhabitants have been working hard on redesigning not only the characters of Oddworld, but also the settings in which the Oddworld games took place. While it has been said that there will be a lot of new locations in Oddworld Soulstorm, there will also be a lot of classic areas making a comeback with a new look, and in some cases even a new name. As a result, I thought it would be interesting if we took a look at some of the newly redesigned locations and compare them with their original counterparts. The first setting is of course the building that shares the name of the game, Soulstorm Brewery. A common theme of the Soulstorm redesigns is that the locations appear to be tremendously larger and more expansive than the original counterparts, and Soulstorm Brewery is no different, adding massive structures and multiple chimneys. I think Lorne Lanning said something about it being based to look like something from Las Vegas, which can be seen with the bright lights and colours. It suitably fit into the landscape as a casino. It also seems more symmetrical than in Abe's Exoddus, and definitely looks far grander, though the original Soulstorm Brewery definitely has an iconic look to it. An interesting subtraction to note is the lack of any Soulstorm Brewery logos on the new factory, which had been emblazoned proudly on the original design. The next location we're looking at is kind of a difficult one to compare. It's Rupture Farms, but Rupture Farms after it got destroyed. I was going to compare the newly destroyed Rupture Farms image from Soulstorm with one from Abe's Odyssey, only to realise that Rupture Farms isn't actually shown getting destroyed in Abe's Odyssey in the same way, as opposed to Soulstorm Brewery, which is shown blowing up at the end of Abe's Exoddus. Consequently, this was the best image I could get to compare, and honestly, if anything, it's the surrounding area that's more to note than that of the factory itself. The Oddworld Soulstorm image appears to show Rupture Farms being in the middle of a large desert, maybe caused by the explosion, I'm not sure, which isn't where I'd pictured the surrounding area of the complex. I expected a desolate place, just not a desert. We've seen stockyards in Abe's Odyssey and the surrounding areas, and it didn't seem like a desert to me, but maybe that's just my perception of it. Moreover, in Soulstorm, Rupture Farms itself seems to look kind of small. We can see, perhaps for the first time, the entire complex in one image, as opposed to the ever-expanding factory we'd seen previously, which seemed as though it had no end. Perhaps this was intentional to show how insignificant it is now that it's destroyed and no longer operational. Necrum Mines is a really distinct and interesting location in both the original Abe's Exoddus version and the new Soulstorm edition. Quite a contrast from Rupture Farms, I guess. The original Necrum Mines clearly was in the middle of a large desert, and ironically that's kind of been changed slightly, I guess. Well, it's still kind of in desert, but it's more of a massive graveyard now, which suits the setting exquisitely, really. It maintains that very pointy, decrepit look of the previous Necrum, while changing it around slightly, expanding it, and I guess making it more horizontal and less vertical, if that makes sense. It's definitely one of the few locations that seems to have shrunk, but gotten wider in compensation. The main difference seems to be the lighting, which could just be due to it possibly being set at a different time of day or something, which creates a far darker, colder atmosphere than the desert-like, hot and desolate environment of the previous incarnation. One of my favourite locations in Oddworld, and the last one we'll be analysing today, is FeeCo Depot, which has been renamed Comet Depot in Oddworld Soulstorm, as revealed by the sign above the main building in this image. Again, this location appears to have been expanded immensely, with Comet Depot looking more like an area to transport large storage containers than the more train station-like FeeCo Depot. It's interesting to note that both have a similar sign on the top of their respective buildings, proudly displaying their name, yet the overall shape and design of the settings appears to have changed relatively drastically. The colours are different as well, with FeeCo Depot having green and blue lighting as opposed to Comet Depot's orange, more human-like lighting. The emphasis is clearly on showing Comet Depot to be a vaster, more working environment than just the transport purposes served by FeeCo Depot. All we have currently are these images to look at and analyse regarding the locations of Oddworld Soulstorm, but I'm sure it'd be far more fascinating to see them in action in actual gameplay.
Hello, follow me.